Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Merry Christmas to all, and the best to you and your family in 2018. And remember, the real meaning of the season, the birth of Jesus. Good morning and Merry Christmas. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, good morning. And a good morning to you. Everybody out there, we wish a Merry Christmas to. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations saying get ready for wintertime driving. And it's out there this morning. I don't know how the snow conditions are over in your area, but we've got a little bit of angel dandruff on the ground. And also, don't forget Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Right now, let's go to the phone line and hear a true patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You the man.
I would love to do it this
All right, go ahead, please.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, my friend. And right now, let's go to the weather and K&R Rental. Hello, Roger and the crew over there. My goodness, 256 south, 600 west of Heyburn, right there on the Burley Paul Highway. And they have all the best tools and equipment for rent, for you, for whatever you're doing. Please get over there. And if you have questions, ask them. They've got all the knowledge, too, as to what's going to work best in certain situations. K&R Rental on the Burley Paul Highway, 678-3122. Right now, here's the weather.
We've got 5 days left until Christmas, and will we have a white Christmas? Well, here's your weather forecast for us up at the ranch. Today we are looking at a slight chance of snow showers, mostly before the noon hour. Other than that, mostly cloudy skies. High right near 35, going to be breezy as well with a west wind right around 20 miles an hour, gusts possible as high as 30 miles an hour. Tonight, 40% chance of snow showers in the forecast, mostly before midnight, mostly cloudy skies. High right near 19, going to be breezy still for tomorrow. Mostly sunny skies, high right near 28, partly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 20. Friday, slight chance of snow showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies with a high of 31. That's going to continue for Friday night with a low of 17. And slight chance of snow showers for Saturday as well, looking at a high of 21. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And she does a great job. Thank you, Gina. And it's brought to everybody this morning by K&R Rental. Roger and the crew over at 256 South, 600 west of Heyburn. And that's right on the Burley Paul Highway. You can't miss it. You better not either, because they've got the best tools and equipment for you, for what you need to rent to get the job done. 678-3122, K&R Rental. All right, we're going to, come on now, the last couple of days, you folks have been sleeping in on me or something, and some of our old standbys, I haven't heard from them, makes me worry a little bit about everybody. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to start off this morning, and we're going to talk a little bit about Obama's administration. There is a stinky, stinky mess that is growing like a cancer, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. I have got to tell you that I have been absolutely ecstatic over the relationship that we've had with Thomas, Terry, Michelle, the whole crew over there at Denny's Restaurant. And the great food, the way they've treated us at Lunch Bunch for another year, it's been phenomenal. And I thank them so much. You can stop in anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, anytime, all the time, for great food at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Yep, America's Diner. Also want to say a big thank you to our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. And every week we have Rita on the program, and she just absolutely does a phenomenal job. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They throw open the doors at 7:30 in the morning till 5 Monday through Friday for all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. And they've been doing this for well over a half a century. Wow, that's quite an achievement right there. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, serving you. All right, let's get some calls in here at 436. Christmas time, come on, call in. And the Obama administration, as much as they want to disavow it, and I know that one of the Democratic spokesmen, she used to be the White House spokesman for Obama, Marie Harp, you know, the blonde with the big horn-rimmed glasses, etc. It's absolutely not true. Everything's a lie. Everything's a lie. Why, don't believe that? My goodness sakes. Well, it doesn't look and sound like a lie. It looks and sounds like the Obama administration did some real dangerous hanky-panky with the terrorist group Hezbollah so that they could get through the Iranian nuclear deal. You know, there's a lot of things that are being said. There's a lot of things that are coming out underneath the table and sitting in the chair now about how that the Obama administration gave basically a free pass to Hezbollah's drug trafficking and money laundering operations that were going on here in the United States of America, with literally thousands of pounds of cocaine and other drugs coming in. And the reason they turned a blind eye and a deaf ear is the Obama administration was doing anything and everything they could to help ensure the Iran nuclear deal would stay on track. Now, Politico is the one that broke the story. And quite frankly, I think we're just seeing and hearing the tip of the iceberg on this. And I think that we're going to find out a lot more after the first of the year, after the Christmas holidays. And right now, I would say that the Democrats and those connected to the Obama administration are scurrying like little rats back into their holes, trying to figure out how to cover this up and make less of it. Now, letting Hezbollah and the drug lords basically go all over our country with the deposits of drugs to kill our citizens, and Obama and his administration looked the other way to get a terrible nuclear deal with Iran. This stinks. This stinks. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to talk to you about President Trump himself in just a moment, and really be open and honest with me on this. The man, his administration, and what he's done in the first year absolutely is pretty amazing. Even with all the negativity, even with all the backstabbers, even with all the dim-witted Demobrats that won't do anything because, no, that's not our person, we wanted Hillary. I want to talk to you about that in just a little bit. And how he keeps getting attacked every single day in the media, and now even from some of our allies. Don't forget our friends at Keelix Supplements. Oh, my goodness sakes, a very important supplement of vitamins and minerals for your livestock. And the man to call and talk to about this, Scott Mitten at 435-230-1175. Call him and he can help provide your cattle what they need with a variety of formulas, chelated minerals for better absorption, and for your beef cattle, dairy cattle, horses, sheep, and goats to get them through the winter healthier. There you go. Check it out. Call him today at 435-230-1175. Scott Mitten with Keelix Supplements. Really important for you, your livestock, and the bottom line. Keelix Supplements. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Quick reminder about Pomerelle Place, a place for senior living. And this time of the year, I always feel sorry for people that are left alone, and sometimes family ignores them because of the hubbub and the rush of Christmas. And I really feel sorry for those folks. And the isolation, the safety hazards, and possible injuries of being alone, poor nutrition, not wanting to eat or not wanting to take your medication. Hey, think about living at Pomerelle Place. It offers the ability for seniors to maintain their independence both safely and comfortably. Call them at 677-8212. Pomerelle Place at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. Really nice people. Okay, your turn. Come on, give me a jingle, 436-2244. I am not even going to try to admit that I can pronounce this guy's name, nor do I really care. He is a French foreign minister, Jean-Yves Le Drian. That's not too bad. Anyway, he is starting to criticize President Trump. And the headline in the USA Today was, Trump foreign policy keeps U.S. in retreat? I had to think about that one a little bit. I don't know why in the world they'd say we're in retreat when, honestly, right now, I think the United States and their foreign policy is getting up in the face of some of these people that have taken advantage of this country for the last 8 to 10 years and telling them there's a new sheriff in town and this is how things are going to be and you better follow the rules. Check your guns at the door, come on in, have fun, and then leave and go home and behave yourself. Well, this guy, this Yves Le Drian, he referred to Trump's repudiation of the Paris Climate Agreement and said that he's just absolutely hurting everybody in the world and lessening the power of the United States. And then he goes on and he said, Trump's announcement December 7th to recognize Jerusalem as the Israeli capital came after months of anticipation of a proposal on forging peace in the Middle East, but we see nothing, he said. Wait a minute. To all the Democrats out there in the audience, the so-called Trump order to move the United States Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem was something that had been talked about, discussed, and supposedly was going to be done way back in the Bush administration. And it was not. Then, during Obama's reign as president, it was talked about on numerous occasions. It was asked about, talked about, and Obama did nothing. Obama did nothing. It was said by both presidents, oh, yeah, we got to move the embassy to Jerusalem, but they didn't do anything. Trump does it. Doesn't waste any time. He gets it done. And he's criticized by people like Jean-Yves Le Drian, the French foreign minister. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Something that was talked about as a quote-unquote done deal for two presidents prior to Trump. And it didn't get done because both those administrations were very inept. And Trump comes in, okay, done deal, move it. And they are. It just does not make sense to me. All the criticism that is going on about Donald Trump. You may not like the man. You may not like anything about his past, his present, or possibly what he's going to do in the future. But you got to admit that we are all really living in better times in the last year since he took over. Now, somebody's going to say, well, yeah, but Zeb, what about North Korea? Yep, I agree. It's a real problem, but not caused by the Trump administration. It's something that goes back again through Obama and into the Bush administration of, hey, let's just sweep it into the corner and maybe take the corner of the rug and cover it up. Maybe it might go away. Well, it didn't, and it got worse. And a story this morning that really bothers me is that this fat little bad-haired, really pugnacious North Korean, I'm going to clean it up a little bit, Kim Jong-un, is now directing all of his missile scientists to figure out how they can put dreaded, dangerous chemicals and other items into the warheads of these missiles, and they're concentrating right now on putting anthrax into these missile heads and aim them at us. Something's got to be done about this man. Something's got to be done about his administration. I'm talking about Kim Jong-un. And it has to be with finality. It has to be with finality. If you're going to get into a fight, it's not pleasant. So you might as well fight to win, and you might as well get rid of the guy now. Because that kind of a threat, with anthrax and all the chemical weapons and chemical warfare, that mankind, even it's happened on a limited basis over in Syria, it hasn't really opened the door wide open and led to the very possibility of annihilation of all of mankind. This, in North Korea, could open that door. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Dino Septic Service over in Rupert and, of course, Burley. I'm going to tell you they've got the best of septic tanks and drain fields installed. Septic tanks pumped. They came over and helped us. Liquid waste removal and sewer and sink drain lines cleaned. Ooh. Well, they do it with a smile on their face. Dino Septic Service in Rupert. Fast, fair, and friendly service. Call them at 436-6526, or in Burley, 678-1638. Dino Septic Service with that big truck that says Smells Cargo on the way. You be sure and get a hold of them today, and they wish you and yours a very, very Merry Christmas. Come on, folks. Get out of bed. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, I have a moment. I also want to talk a little bit about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And the number to call, 678-1191. Now, be careful out there on the snow, and underneath it, when it melts a little bit, you got that ice, and whoop! There you go. My goodness, covering all 4 points of the compass like I do. Well, if you have a bruise, a sprain, a strain, or you break a bone and you're recuperating and you got to get the strength back, give them a call. They've got the best physical therapist anywhere, anytime, and also that hydrotherapy pool, only one of its kind. I'm telling you, they can help. They will help. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation in Burley. Number to call, 678-1191. You get on the phone with them today. All right, get on the phone with me right now. My goodness sakes. All of my regulars, they must be sleeping in this morning. Give us a jingle, 436-2244. I had to think about the number there for a minute. And give us a jingle. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Thank you. You broke the ice.
You're welcome, sir.
How are you?
I'm good. Good. Little snowflakey over here, but they'll melt.
It is here too, but I got to admit it's kind of nice for the season.
It is. I see there's not much on the road, so that's a good thing.
I had an embarrassing thing happen to me yesterday, Dougie.
Oh, you went Christmas shopping?
I did go Christmas shopping, and I did. I wanted to tell everybody that I did go Christmas shopping. I honored my word. My lovely bride and I went to shop, and I let her off at one location. I went to another location, and I had a very tough time yesterday, my friend. I can walk a long distance, but I can't stand in one place very long. You know what I mean? On my bad hip and knee. So I have relegated myself to using one of those electric stallions at these various stores if I have to stand for quite a while and I run into somebody I know. Well, anyway, yesterday the electric stallion that I chose got me into the middle of this huge store, and it croaked.
Oh, I thought maybe you hit another salsa display or something.
Boy, that's not funny, Doug. I do that way too often. I did, however, now that you mention it, with all sincerity, knock over a clothes rack.
Oh, well, at least they didn't break and shatter. They just pick them up, dust them off, and hang them up.
Yeah, you're optimistic. What can I do for you?
Well, this Obama administration, what they've done is coming out about that Hezbollah and that drug trafficking that they just swept under the rug so they could get their stellar Iran nuclear deal.
Yeah.
That's the tip of the iceberg with this guy. This man, when he was in office, he was so aloof that if we knew half of what he did, there would be people with pitchforks and knives in front of his house wanting to lynch him.
I think you're right, and I would go as far as to say this. Obama was the setup man for the liberal left policies of everything to take America down. And they being the Democrats and the liberals, they honestly thought after his 2 terms in office that Hillary would be a shoe-in for the presidency to continue the downgrading and downfall of American values. It didn't happen, and they got caught with egg on their face.
They did. And even with their tampering with the elections and their collusion with Russia to get Trump where he's not elected, it didn't work for him. It showed them that the American people are a lot smarter than they took them for.
Well, you know,
just a bunch of sheep that you can head one direction and we'll just keep going.
You hit it right on the head. And here's something else. Not only the Obama administration, I think, is going to have a Pandora's box of information open up about how illegal and how illicit they were. But then, I don't know if you heard about this or not, but now it's coming out, Hillary may have taken a mere tidy little sum of $84 million out of the Democratic National Committee, used it for her campaign, and that wasn't right.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. I mean, this Mueller investigation is opening some eyes, and then you get some internal stuff going on. It's shining some light on some stuff that we needed to know a long time ago.
You know, and that's a good way to look at it, Doug, to some extent, because everybody said, Mueller, boy, they're wasting a lot of time and taxpayer dollars. However, right now, I think that Mueller's hands are tied behind his back, and he's got somebody pushing him off the edge of the high dive into the deep water, and here's the reason why. He's had a bunch of people that he put on his staff for investigators that are absolutely criminal in their own right, with their tweets and showing exactly their true colors of being biased. And right now, Mueller's got his hands tied because he can't come out with a negative report and not have the verification or the truth behind it, because all of his investigators, they're Democrats.
Exactly right. He's either in the frying pan, or if he jumps out, he's going to be in the fire.
Yeah.
I mean, danged if he does and danged if he doesn't.
Which is not a bad place for Mueller to be in, because, quite frankly, he's not squeaky clean either.
No, everybody tries to say he's a stellar, stand-up, honorable, when he knew about the Uranium One deal and selling 20% to Russia and didn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
And what happened to the guy that was the undercover guy and had all this tapes and information on that uranium one. I mean, we had info for about 3 weeks there. Now I haven't heard anything for a week.
Well, okay, you've touched on something else, and we got to cut this short because I got to do a break here, Doug. But I will say this, going all the way back to the Las Vegas shooting, and all the other news stories that have come up, what has overshadowed every one of those news stories after they first hit the media? What one story has overshadowed everything else?
Trump collusion?
Possible Trump collusion and the possible Russian involvement and everything. It seems the news media has hit the stories briefly, very briefly, and then they've come right back to this as if it's a magnet. And we're losing a lot of important stories that we, the public, should know what's going on. I, for one, I'm going to be really honest with you. I, for one, think the Las Vegas shooting, the massacre, is absolutely a prime story because I think there's a lot of spider webs that are going to spin out from that story, and the American public's going to go, holy cow.
I think you're right, buddy.
All right.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'd love to see the light of day hit some of this stuff because it would sanitize it. And what I want to see, too, is the ones that have done illegal things be brought up on charges and punished for their illegal doings.
Amen.
Not just let go. I mean, you take an FBI guy that has done what he's done, that one that was doing all that texting with his mistress. If he's done the illegal stuff, he should be fired. His pension should be taken away. His retirement should be taken away. He should be put out in the street homeless.
Yeah, and he's been exonerated by all the Democrats and everything, and they just basically said, oh, that's nitpicking. He was just doing his job. I say balderdash.
I know it. We need to make some examples of some of these people to straighten the others up and say, hey, if I mess up, I'm out of here.
That's right.
I don't have my lush life after I retire.
I got my lush life. I've got to retire, but I can't do it unless I do my commercials.
Yeah, you better do your commercials. Hey, everybody, let's take care of our senior centers. It's Christmas season of giving. Help them what you can. Donate what you can. Let's keep these seniors in our hearts and our minds because they're the ones that help build this country.
Amen.
We're enjoying right now.
Amen, Doug. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Sophie's Chatterbox. Don't forget, every Monday we give away a dozen delicious cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox, their bakery, at 530 East Street in Rupert, and then also their delicious restaurant. Oh, my. It is good, 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 good. Well, listen, they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas from Sophie's Chatterbox in Rupert. And I know somebody else that wishes you a very, very Merry Christmas, and they hope that you stay healthy and you don't hurt something, you don't fall off the ladder, you don't fall into the Christmas tree, and that's the Urgent Cares. Yes, the Urgent Cares. 3 of them, Riverview Urgent Care in Burley at 382 North Overland in Burley, the Urgent Care of Twin Falls at 2392 Addison Avenue East, and the Urgent Care of Jerome at 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. I'm telling you that they're there to serve you and your family. Maybe you fall off the new bike at Christmas, or maybe you slip and slide on the driveway, whatever. Hey, you get treated, not seated. No appointment necessary. Open 7 days a week with extended hours. Qualified providers are always on staff, and they're doing all they can to cut the health care costs, serving you and your family at the Urgent Cares. Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, Urgent Care of Twin Falls, and Urgent Care of Jerome. And they are wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. All right, your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to give this little note here real quick, and then I'll take some more calls. Come on, get on the line, give me a call. Thank you very much for this kind message that was given to us. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from your lamb and wool growers in the Mini-Cache area, past and present. And I was asked my dear friend Gary Shoresman to help supply me some information about some of the sheep industry way, way back when. And he said the times were really tough, especially in the winter right here in this area. And an extreme amount of work was done trying to haul hay by horse and wagon or truck sometimes sometimes starving and saving valuable bands of sheep. And so it's been a big industry in the state of Idaho. Hardworking, dedicated, strong Idahoans are proud to be participating in Idaho's future. Your lamb and wool growers in the Mini-Cassia area, past and present, wishing you and yours a Merry Christmas. Good morning, caller. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to mention that we're going to have ham and beans and cornbread with yummy dessert. It's the seniors today. That sounds like a good menu for a cold winter day.
You know, Joe, there is nothing better, in my opinion, than ham and beans and cornbread with melted butter on top and maybe a little honey. Woo-hoo! That's good eating, Joe.
Well, that's what our menu is today. Now, I also want to mention that Friday evening, about 6 o'clock, we're going to have a dinner, just a free will offering. Everybody's invited. Bring the children, and we're going to have a little entertainment.
Okay. Hey, by the way, I understand, I know a guy that's having a birthday tomorrow, and are you going to have a big birthday cake and ice cream and all that kind of stuff?
Well, the cake and ice cream, that's what's important. It's not that 92.
You're going to be 92 years young, right, Joe?
How about that?
Oh, my.
I never thought I'd make it this far, but here I am.
Well, let me tell you something. On behalf of my wife and I that think the world of you, I wish you happiest birthday you've ever had. God bless you, my dear friend. And we'll send everybody over there to the Senior Junction for the ham and beans and the cornbread.
We wish you well at your Christmas gathering tomorrow.
All right, Joe. God bless you, my dear friend. You're always welcome to call in. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yes, sir.
Right.
That man.
To you and everyone else.
Thank you, Joe. Merry Christmas to you. That man has so much talent and ability, and he's history. He is really history personified. He's done it all, been there, done that. Joe Taylor. I got the world of respect for him. Calls are welcome, 436-2244. Come on, break the ice, give me a call. Barry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts. Let's talk a little bit about them. They got all the Bobcats. Here a Bobcat, there a Bobcat, everywhere Bobcats, all shapes and sizes, new and used. My goodness sakes, you want to rent one? They can help. Want to buy one? They can help. Don't know how to run one? They can help. They got a big sandbox out behind. Juan and the crew, they'll take you out in the sandbox and they'll give you a crash course. Whoop, bad word. They'll give you a complete course on how to run it. At Barry Equipment and Rental, South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Barry Equipment and Rental, all three locations, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. I love this time of the year. Did you hear about Rosie O'Donnell? This woman is honestly not very smart. And how she ever got to be such a star is unbelievable to me, because she did something that was so stupid. And I hope that maybe it's a felony what she tried to do. I hope somebody will go after her and prosecute her, because I don't like her. Never have liked her. I don't like what she says. I don't like how she acts. I don't like anything about her brazen personality and, quite frankly, her filthy, filthy mouth. Rosie O'Donnell tried to bribe some of the senators, and she said, I will give $2 million to any GOP senator who votes no on the tax bill. And that is a felony. And then she got into a tweeting war with a bunch of people, and I can't on the radio even start to read some of the things that she said in these tweets, because almost every other word was a filthy word or group of words. So here is not a very bright light in the fixture, Rosie O'Donnell, offering bribes to senators to vote no. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are you?
I am good, sir. Thank you.
You know what? Rosie O'Donnell has a big problem.
Well, yeah, she's overweight, she's underworked, she's got a mouth that supersedes her brain, and I wish they'd get her on these felony charges.
Do you know where she came from?
Don't hang me out to dry like that. I've got an answer, but I'm not going to give it to you.
No, she came from Utah.
Yeah.
That's where she was born.
Well, no, wait a minute. I didn't think Rosie O'Donnell came from Utah. I thought it was the one that was on that television sitcom for a while that came from Utah.
I don't know. There's one of them.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought I'd call in and wish you a Merry Christmas, you and Deanne. I miss some of the things we used to do. And I was driving by going to Elko the other day and thinking about that trip we made in to a couple of ranches down there to do a little cowboy country, and it was fun.
We had at during the taping of that show, Cowboy Country, and by the way, folks, I'm talking to one of my dearest friends, Jack Euler, and Jack was he was our producer of Cowboy Country because he was always the man to make sure everybody was there on time and everybody was doing what they should do, with the exception of Johnny because we couldn't find him. But anyhow, he did a tremendous job, and we had more fun putting that television program together over the years, and I want to thank you again. I just absolutely enjoyed it.
Well, I did too. Yeah, I did too, and I still can't find Johnny.
You know what we ought to do? We ought to have kind of a reunion, the Cowboy Country reunion, and we'll get everybody, Luigi and you and Johnny and me, and we'll get Ernie, and we'll have a great big reunion party. That'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it?
Gary and Bev.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let's get together.
All right. Well, now listen, I heard a rumor that you were going to grace your presence over here at our place tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that.
I plan on it. I'm on the road right now, but I plan on being around tomorrow.
Okay, because we had a helicopter drop in more food. Okay. God bless you, Jack. Thank you.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Merry Christmas. One of my dear friends right there, Jack Euler. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's get some Christmas spots. Merry Christmas wishes, shall we? And Merry Christmas wishes from Snake River Auto Body and Paint. Ken and Dan, the whole crew. I can honestly tell you that if you've got some dings, dents, or whatever that need to be fixed on your vehicle, these people are the best. At 404 4th Avenue West in Twin Falls, 734-5790, Snake River Auto Body and Paint, wishing you a Merry Christmas. Along with Streamline Precision with Tim and the crew at 120 South, 100 West of Burley, 678-9204. They do it all. Excavation, underground piping, utilities, waste ponds, everything. You'd better believe it. Streamline Precision, wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Along with Pickett Equipment Company. Hello, Steve Pickett. One of these days I wished he'd stop in and go on the air with us. 976 East Main in Burley. Steve Pickett and the crew at Pickett Equipment Company. They've been building quality farm equipment since way back in the mid-'70s. They know. Pickett Equipment Company, Merry Christmas. And last but not least, the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce at 1177 7th Avenue in Heyburn. Oh, have you been over to that one-of-a-kind little gift shop they've got there? All the Made in Idaho products. Oh, fantastic products. You stop in there for your Christmas shopping at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce in Heyburn, 679-4793. Holy cow, a little bit of snow outside and cooler. And so please drive carefully out there and give us a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Why don't we find out what the weather is going to be over the next couple of days, because we have our in-house weather girl that really does a good job, and we'll have her on in just a moment. Don't forget the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with Dr. Christine Pickup. Oh, my goodness. If you're noticing a little diminishment in your hearing and you're going, "What, Martha, what'd he say? I can't hear him." Well, you better get in and have a hearing screening. She can help you. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, Dr. Pickup, and the number to call, 312-0957. Right now, here's the weather.
We've got 5 days left until Christmas, and will we have a white Christmas? Well, here's your weather forecast for us up at the ranch. Today we are looking at a slight chance of snow showers, mostly before the noon hour. Other than that, mostly cloudy skies. High right near 35, going to be breezy as well with a west wind right around 20 miles an hour, gusts possible as high as 30 miles an hour. Tonight, 40% chance of snow showers in the forecast, mostly before midnight, mostly cloudy skies. High right near 19, going to be breezy still for tomorrow. Mostly sunny skies, high right near 28, partly cloudy for tomorrow night with low of 20. Friday, slight chance of snow showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies with a high of 31. That's going to continue for Friday night with a low of 17. And slight chance of snow showers for Saturday as well, looking at a high of 21. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And Gina, thank you so much. And the weather brought to you this hour by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. And the number to call to make a hearing screening appointment, 312-0957. They wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I've mentioned this guy on my program on numerous occasions, and I am trying right after the first of the year, hopefully that first week after New Year's, to get him on my program to talk about his book. I'm trying to get former NFL player. He played also in the Super Bowl, Burgess Owens, and he's got a straight common sense approach as to what is going on, what's gone wrong, and how to fix it in the black community here in the United States of America. And this morning they were interviewing him, and they were talking a little bit about Colin Kaepernick and P. Diddy, trying to team up and buy the NFL team, the Carolina Panthers. And they asked him, what do you think about that? And he said, well, that just proves how selfish they are. And I sat there, and it really got my attention. He said, for those that have made money, whether it's in the sporting world or whether it's in the entertainment business, like P. Diddy and Colin Kaepernick, Michael Jordan, and others, instead of saying, well, we're going to buy this, buy that, we're going to do this, that, and the other, and try to enhance and further more of their multi-millions, they're not doing anything for the black community. And he said, why don't they put their money where their mouth is and go back and help the black community that they're complaining about and asking government to fix and asking you and I to fix when they're not doing anything to fix it themselves? And instead of begging for the government to help pay for everything, as if money thrown at a situation is going to be the cure-all and the panacea, this man, Burgess Owens, came out and said they got to get to work. They've got to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. They've got to get to work, and they've got to raise their families. They've got to say yes. They've got to say no. They've got to bring their kids up in the school system, and they've got to learn how to be responsible. And you know what? He's right. I am so sick and tired of turning on the news, and for those that are offended by this, it's the truth. I'm going to be blunt. You see so many of these women in the inner cities sitting there that are about 400 pounds with their hands out saying more, 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 and they've got 15 kids, supposedly, that are all theirs, sitting behind them. Boy, that's being a responsible citizen. Boy, that's being responsible to make your situation better. Boy, that's being responsible as a parent. And this man, Burgess Owens, I've got tons of respect for him on the numerous times that I've seen him on television and listened to him, and I can't wait to buy his book. I'm going to go to the bookstore, buy that book between Christmas and New Year's, read it, and have him on the air. But it's the truth. Overall, the black community has got to be more self-responsible, self-reliant, and put themselves in a position to where they're trying to better themselves instead of just getting help from everybody else and then damning everybody else. Think about it. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call that I hope is coming in, I want to remind you, too, about our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, yeah, they told you. They told you for a long time, get ready for wintertime driving. Yeah, all the snow and the ice and the yuck and the muck, all that stuff. Well, they've got all the traction tires for your cars, your pickups, and your SUVs. Absolutely all of them. And all the tire chains, and the best in brake service. They really pride themselves on having highly trained technicians to make sure they do the best in brake service for you and your vehicle. Front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. With the temperature going to take a whoop down the drain again, you're going to get cold. You better make sure your battery's a good battery. If it isn't, they've got the best in batteries at all 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see them today. The tax bill did pass the Senate last night. As a matter of fact, the final vote came at 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time this morning, and the vote was 51-48 in favor. Now, because of some silly, frivolous rules, it has to go back to the House, and the House has to vote on some of the real minor changes on the bill, the name of the bill, and everything else. And so I'm hoping that by noon today, that tax bill will be voted on, signed, sealed, and delivered, and headed for the Oval Office so that Donald Trump can sign it. Hopefully. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There was a big story in the USA Today, and I don't have a lot of time left, but I wanted to just comment on this, that looking into this next year of 2018, they gave a list of states. Idaho is not on this list, and I say good for that. They gave a list of states that are going to boost up low-wage workers and increase the minimum wage, many of which are going to be going close to or on the way to $15 an hour. And proponents of this great big wage increase at low-skilled jobs, I'm just going to call it that, low-skilled jobs, say the initiative can help narrow a widening income gap between the wealthy and the poor. Well, working at a fast food restaurant flipping burgers is not really a career choice. And I get offended every time I think about this because I just honestly do not understand how the people that are working at entry-level jobs, minimum pay jobs, can expect to be dragging home $40,000 to $50,000 a year. The public's going to pay for it. The food chains are going to pay for it by laying off the people, laying off jobs, or for that matter, shutting down locations. And that full-time minimum wage worker, like one in New York, now earning $22,000 a year, would see his or her salary leap to $30,000 a year, and that assumes 2 full weeks of vacation for flipping burgers. Now, I don't have an animus against those jobs, but they are entry-level jobs, and I think it's a great source for people to get in the workforce, learn how to work, how to do the job, possibly get raises and also higher positions, but to just give them $15 or more an hour as a means of narrowing the gap between the wealthy and the poor is absolutely insane. Well, now that I got that group of people all mad, I'm going to say that we're going to take a little break and send it back over to Wheels. He hasn't done a thing all hour. He's sitting there just being attentive. And we're going to listen to the news coming up. And then next hour, we've got my good friend Dave Bigo coming on the program, followed by a gentleman that's never been on the show this morning or any time, Adam Coffrin. And he's going to be talking about bullying and safe kids. All that's coming up in this next hour. And, of course, we invite you to call in. Zeb at the Ranch, and we wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Wheels, take it away. Woo, boy. It changed. It's a little chilly outside. And a little bit of snow, too. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations telling you to get ready for wintertime driving. And that's for sure. Hey, and along with some of our great sponsors and advertisers like Western Way Services, call them, always at your disposal.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is landing ahead, always at your disposal. Western Way Services.
Oh, you'd better call and get on the route service. You know, this is a big weekend, a lot of family gatherings and everything leading up to Christmas next Monday, and you're going to have all the wrapping paper, and you're going to have all the old boxes. Oh, my goodness, get on the route service, and they'll come pick up all your garbage. Western Way Services, all you need to do is just call them at 734-6969. Western Way Services, always at your disposal. By the way, too, we've got some folks I want to say thank you to. And they've been on our program for literally years and years and years. And I really thank all of my sponsors and advertisers. But Joel Heward, manager, along with his family and the staff at Hanson Mortuary, they are so community-oriented. I mean, whether it's activities in the summer or the fall or the winter, they're always there really supporting their community with a smile on their face. And they're with Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. And they want to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year 2018. And if there is the passing of a loved one in your family, believe me, they're always there to help you, and always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Please keep their number where you can find it real quick, and they're there to serve you at 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. Merry Christmas wishes go out from the Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott at 230 West 7th North in Burley. And the number, remember this number, 677-5000, because if all your relatives are coming in for Christmas, have them stay at the Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott and use that bathroom instead of yours. Oh, it's a lot handier. And it makes for better family relations, too. Have them give them a call. Get a room for only $89 now available. It's not available online. You got to give them a call. 677-5000, Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott in Burley. Wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Along with Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke. Scott has been on our program many, many times. We're going to have him on right after the first with the legislative session that's going on, and he wants to take the time, along with his family, to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and yours. A man that really cares about Idaho and the betterment of our great state of Idaho. Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, saying Merry Christmas. Right now, I've got another really good friend on the telephone line, and I don't know if he's got any snow on the ground back there or if it's nice and mild in the Midwest. Dave Bigo, good morning. How are you?
Good morning and Merry Christmas to you and all your listeners, Zeb. Actually, we have clear skies today. We've had cloudy skies for the last 3 days, gray and kind of dismal. But no, we don't have any snow. The temperatures here have been in the upper 40s for the last 3 days, and we're going to be again today and tomorrow.
Oh, my.
The winter season hasn't hit yet, but I think by next Monday we're supposed to be down. Our highs are supposed to be in the high 20s, so we'll get there.
All right. Well, I want to extend right off the bat a very Merry Christmas to you and your wonderful family and everything. Dave, last night the Senate passed the tax cut bill 51-48. Now it goes back to the House for a kind of a not a revamp, but kind of a redo of some small little miscellaneous items, and I think the House is also going to pass it. What are your thoughts about the tax bill?
Well, Zeb, it's kind of hard to tell because we don't know all the specifics yet. I've even talked to our accountants about it and everything, and they think there's some good things in there that'll help business, and they believe it'll help the middle class and lower class too, and reducing their taxes. And they think overall it's pretty good, but it remains to be seen the details on it and where it goes. I mean, some of the concerns though are some of this stuff will end in the mid-20s, and that they probably need to do something to protect that going forward. But we'll see. I think we'll have more details, maybe not next week because people are still going to be on holiday break and that. But after the first year, I think I'm going to get more updates and details from the accountant people I know that really know what they're talking about.
Dave, one of the subjects that we have talked about in this program in the past was the minimum wage increase of possibly going to $15 an hour. And I said way back when this idea was floated, I said, wait a minute, you're going to see the elimination of a lot of jobs. You're going to see the cutbacks by a lot of businesses. And I said those low-level entry jobs are for young people learning how to get into the workforce, how to learn how to work, how to maybe get raises, how to be responsible, and maybe work their way up the ladder. But now the proponents of this 2018 bring it up to $15 an hour minimum wage are saying that they wanted to widen or narrow the widening income gap between wealthy and poor. Since when did a burger flipper really need to depend upon that job to lessen the gap between the wealthy and the poor?
Well, it's crazy, and you have to understand, and your listeners need to understand that this is all backed by the unions, especially in these states like California and New York and Illinois and that, where the unions are big, especially the SEIU. And there's actually, in my newsletter this week, there was an article that came out. It says, as minimum wage skyrockets in California, Simple Economics strikes back in epic fashion. And if you go in and read that article, and I encourage people to do it, it talks about how, what's happening is people are losing jobs because the businesses can't afford to pay that, so they're cutting back on staff, or they're bringing in electronic systems to replace people. And in California alone, and this is just, this went into effect last year when Governor Jerry Brown signed it out there. They've lost about 400,000 jobs.
Wow. There was a quote in the USA Today yesterday, Dave, and I want to read that to you in regards to wages and low-wage workers, and it said this, and I highlighted it because it really piqued my attention. I wanted to mention it to you this morning. It says, full-time minimum wage workers in New York, now earning $22,000 a year, would see his or her salary leap to $30,000 a year, assuming also 2 weeks of vacation. What?
Yeah, and and the truth is, they don't need these laws to do this, because across the country, it's hard to find people, and every businessman I talk to in all industries are having trouble finding people, and wages are raising anyway, because of the economy and businesses needing people. And we don't need government, telling us how to run our businesses and jobs and wages and all that kind of stuff. We need them to get out of the way.
I agree with you. There was a note on the email that you sent about the National Labor Relations Board, and I thought I'd ask you the subject matter that you wanted to discuss on that.
Well, it's really interesting. Trump has brought two people in on the National Labor Relations Board, and he's brought a new general counsel in, and they are really setting up to go back and eliminate all of Obama administration new regulations and that they've put in, and it's going to mean a big help for businesses because they're not going to have their hands and feet tied with these regulations. They're going to be able to go out and grow their business and that, and not have the unions nipping at their heels as much. And like some of the things, the joint employer rule, they're going to pull it back. That's where like franchises like McDonald's. McDonald's is the major company, but they have franchisees, and they're that NLRB basically said, well, you're all one and the same, so we can organize you all, and that's going to go away. And they're going to roll back making employers give out workers' contact information, and which is good because that's what the SEIU wanted me to do when I signed the neutrality agreement. And all that does is allow them to go to employees' houses and intimidate and threaten them until they sign a union card.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to these people. And then the quickie election rule, it's going to go away. And this new general counsel, he's really putting these things on the docket and on the board, and it's going to be good things for business in America.
Let's talk a little bit about that, Dave. You are a very successful businessman with your company. When you look at the last year with Donald Trump as president, and I went through a series of different notations about he's done this, he's done that, he's promoted that, he's doing that. We're looking at the economic impact of having him and his administration in office. How in the world can you be a naysayer? It looks to me like he's got us on the right track.
Well, that's exactly right, but you have to understand these people on the left, they want all this stuff in place so they can control us, and they really don't understand how to operate and be successful in the free market system. So they want to come in and put all these things in place so they can control what's going on, and they can, make the money they want to make, and give themselves stuff and all that, and that's what this is all about. And it's interesting, Zeb, and I need to tell you this story because this was really shocking to me yesterday. But I got a LinkedIn email from a guy in northern Indiana, and he says, Dave, I listened to you talk several years ago and bought your book, and says, I have a friend at Trine University who was a professor there, and he retired, but he was a consultant for businesses and helping them with their human resources and that. He really butted head with the union bosses and that because of all their terrible tactics and that. And I gave him a copy of your book, and he read it, and he says, Dave is spot on. He says, everybody should read his book. He's a hero for standing up against these people and fighting them while he was running across broken glass all the time and stuff like that. And it was really interesting that here's a professor, at a college, that read this and agrees with everything I said on that, and that's the type of thing we need happening in America, people waking up and seeing this stuff.
I couldn't agree more. That spot on. But finding professors that will do that in comparison to what this man said, that's few and far between, as you well know.
Yeah, it is, and but slowly, Zeb, we're seeing more people wake up to this stuff, and the fact that the people they're beginning to realize that these people on the left are not for them. They're for their own needs and agenda and that, and we just got to keep telling people and waking people up and talking to them, because as we do this, more and more people realize what's really going on.
And you led me right into the next subject that I wanted to talk to you about. Is more and more people are going to realize what's going on. We were disgusted many, many months over the Colin Kaepernick deal. I absolutely find the young man to be totally ignorant and not understanding at all what he's doing for the damage to the NFL and then also the damage to himself. But he came out with a statement the other day that he was thinking about joining the rapper P. Diddy and possibly buying the NFL team, the Charlotte, or I should say the Carolina Panthers, where they're in Charlotte. And I was listening this morning, Dave, to a gentleman that not only is a former NFL player, but he also played in a Super Bowl in the past, Burgess Owens. And he absolutely hit the nail on the head. He said he is sick and tired of hearing other blacks of his race using only their money to further themselves and not doing anything to help with seminars or training or anything else to help the black people get out of their doldrums, lift themselves up by their own bootstraps, become responsible, become good parents, get their kids into school and make them study to be responsible young adults. He said it's the black problem and not the government's problem. What would your thoughts be on that?
Well, I agree with that to the point, and Kaepernick has been brainwashed, and a big part of that is by the SEIU. But he, and I saw this. I was watching. I can't remember who it was, but it was a Democrat that was talking about it and said that the Democratic Party has been the problem with the black community, and that over the years they've done things to give them stuff and food stamps and all this kind of stuff and that. And what they basically fundamentally have done, have taken away the incentive to go out and work hard and become part of this country
right.
and lift themselves up. And that's what should be done so that, they're like every other race and religious group in this country, is that you got to go out and use your abilities to move yourself forward and upwards. And I thought it was very interesting hearing that, and that again, that tells me that some of the Democrats are starting to wake up. That all this stuff that's gone on over the years, and the laws that they've passed, and that haven't been for these people. It's been for their own good, so that they get the votes to get elected and the money, obviously.
Speaking of money, this morning, David, I understand that our favorite little news girl is back in the news again, and I'm talking about Hillary. Gee, the rumors are becoming almost fact now that Hillary had taken about $84 million, a mere penance of money, and took it out of the Democratic National Committee and used it for her campaign. And now the finger pointing is going against Hillary again. What are your thoughts?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me at all. And, the Clintons are who they are. I mean, you look back about their history and, his husband and wife, how they've cheated on each other. And, there's been indications that they are responsible for the deaths of some people. And, whether that's true or not, but that's, there's been a lot of articles out there on that. And, they use money that's been put into the Clinton Foundation and that for their own needs and stuff like that. It's, they obviously aren't the type of people we want running this country. And, again, I think slowly Americans are beginning to wake up, and we need to keep waking them up.
Absolutely. One last thought here. I wanted to get your opinion about the potential of another scandal that's going to be pointing its finger at the Obama administration in the way that they handled or didn't handle the terrorist group Hezbollah when they were trying to get the treaty signed with Iran. Hezbollah, as a matter of fact, is an offshoot of the Iranian government and doing a lot of things in adjacency with them. And they were bringing literally tons of drugs into our country, the United States, and the Obama administration just kind of turned a blind eye and a deaf ear so they could get that nuclear deal signed with Iran. What are your thoughts about this?
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all, Zeb. The Obama administration and the agenda of Obama and the people on the far left that he's with, his OFA program and all that is to bring this country down, and they're going to do anything they can, whether it's helping Hezbollah getting drugs in this country to help brainwash Americans and confuse them and divide the country. I mean, this is all part of their plan, and we got to make sure that they don't bring Trump and this country down. And but that's what their goal is, and I think after the first year we're going to see a lot more come out and a lot more attacks come out.
Well, which leads me to the last, this is the last time that we're going to have a chance to talk in 2017. I'm going to be off the air next week for the Christmas to New Year's break and come back again in January of 2018. What are your thoughts about this next year? Are you optimistic, or are you a little bit with trepidation as to what might happen?
Well, I'm optimistic, but I'm always concerned about what's going on behind the scenes and what these people will do, and how vicious that they'll get. And I really do think one thing that Trump should do is he needs to go through all the administration, whether it's Department of Labor or whatever it is, and he needs to get rid of those people that are behind the scenes are trying to bring him down, that are part of the old Obama administration, and get people in that are really for this country. And he's done some of that, but I think he needs to do some more. I'll be honest with you, some other things, like there's some departments like the National Labor Relations Board. I'm glad that they're working on these things that we just talked about. But the truth is with the other government agencies we have, the Department of Labor and EEOC and other stuff like that, the National Labor Relations Board really doesn't really have a need anymore for this country. And they could actually just close that down and save a heck of a lot of money that they spend on that every year. And employees and employers, everybody still has the ability to go through these other departments like the Department of Labor, EEOC, and other ones if there's concerns or problems.
Right. Dave, I hate to see our time run out, but I want to take just a moment here to thank you for being so kind to my wife and myself, being a part of our program again for another year. And Deanna and I both want to extend to you and your family and all of your people that work for you, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Well, and then the same to you and your family and all the people that work with you. And I got your Christmas card today. It had a great picture on it, and thank you for that.
Dave, you take care of yourself, and please know that you're a valued guest on this program going into the next year. Again, Merry Christmas and thank you.
Well, thank you, and Merry Christmas, Zeb.
All right, buddy. Dave Bego back in Indianapolis, Indiana, and he's been on our program as a guest for a long, long time on a weekly basis, and I really enjoy having him. He's the author of The Devil at My Doorstep and The Devil at Our Doorstep, talking about the sins of the SEIU, and just a really good guy. Let's pay some bills. Let's remind you about Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. Number to call, 678-1177. Now, this animal hospital, Ark Animal Hospital, really, really cares. They are a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small. They love them all. And, Dr. Bill and the crew, they really get involved with the animals. I mean, they treat them like they're their own. And they want to make sure that they're healthy and well cared for. So please remember Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street in Heyburn. Number to call, 678-1177. They have the warm hearts for the cold noses, and they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. By the way, too, some other notes that I want to get into this morning real quick. And this one, it's just really a good, feel-good Merry Christmas wish. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from your lamb and wool growers in the Mini-Cassia area, past and present. Hardworking, dedicated, strong Idahoans who have been a major part of Idaho's history and are proud to be participating in Idaho's future. And really, that is so true, providing the quality lamb and wool products.
President Trump
and There we go with that interruption again by the network. They always seem to come in and bug me at least once a day. But on behalf of the lamb and wool growers in the Mini-Cassia area, they look to you and say, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Oh, my goodness. In just a few minutes, we're going to have our next guest come on the air. And before that happens, I want to say a big, big thank you to Jeff and the crew over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. You know, they provided that great, big, beautiful flex steel recliner that we gave away over at Denny's restaurant last week for that Christmas party. And it is, at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, Santa's favorite place to shop. My goodness. Great big savings and the best values on everything for your home. No money down, no interest, up to 12 months on approved credit. Let me tell you, they've got it all for you. Whether it's the carpet, you need new carpeting, or whether you need a new bedroom set, you need a new mattress, you need a new dining room set. How about a recliner? Excuse me, they've got all the recliners. What a selection at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. And nice people to work with. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley. Yep, they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. It's snowing a little bit here right now. We're getting a little, not a great accumulation of angel dandruff on the ground, but it is snowing. I don't know how it is over in the Rupert area. Wheels, what's going on over there right now?
Well, we're getting a little bit of snow. It's not crazy, but I believe it's clearing up now. It's just little angel dandruff.
Okay. All right, buddy. Well, listen, Merry Christmas to you and your family, and we want to remind everybody, too, about Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. Hey, for you last-minute Santa Claus shoppers, don't forget, they've got all the brand-new 2018 snowmobiles, and they've got certain motorcycles and ATVs, 20% off. There's a saving for you. And all the accessories, 25% off. Great selection of Christmas gifts at Let's Ride. Oh, and by the way, too, don't forget they've got the best service department around to keep those machines running. Absolutely, Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. It's true. This is where the fun is sold. And while you're over in that area, don't forget to our friends that are really professionals in the insurance business. Excuse me, I can't get rid of that cold. I've been fighting it for over a week. And we salute Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, with the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. They are dedicated and responsive to your needs and want to help you, your family, and your business to make sure you're covered. Get a hold of them today, 436-4424, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. I have not had this gentleman on my program before, but I'm absolutely looking forward to our conversation. And I say a good morning and Merry Christmas to Adam Coffran. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I am great. Let me ask you if I pronounced the name right. I don't want to embarrass myself by saying your name wrong. Is it Coffran? Did I say that right?
Yes, sir, you sure did.
Well, you are the president of Safe Kids. Bring us up to speed with my listeners and myself. Basically, what does that mean and what do you do?
So we discovered that we are not teaching our kids what to do in life. And you think about when you grew up and you were doing fire drills in school, and out in the West Coast we do earthquake drills, and on the East Coast they do tornadoes and hurricanes and all these bad things that might affect us in life. And we discovered as a team of educators and law enforcement that when bad things happen to us that were not somehow caused by Mother Nature, we didn't really know what to do. And we have set out to change that. So we have created a curriculum for K through 8 kids on how to prevent and survive violence.
Oh, now this sounds like a really good program. Why don't you give us some kind of a thumbnail sketch as to how it works?
Absolutely. So we coined what we call the HERO program. and that stands for hide, escape, run, and overcome. And what we wanted to do is to keep all the things that will keep you alive, or prevent bullying, or to get away from stranger danger, or anything else that might bad happen to you in life. We want to keep it really simple, really easy, and we did it in a fashion that we can teach it in school through a set of lesson plans, original narratives, and so it's actually taught by teachers in the classroom to Common Core standards and the standards of education.
Okay, now, when you bring up the various points, what would you say this program tells in general to the students and young people? Is it to basically run away, walk away, or what basic is the message that you're trying to portray?
So we created the program on something called the empowerment theory, and that is empowering students through education to make choices for themselves. And this theory has been used throughout education for various curriculum. But when we brought it to the HERO program, what we wanted to do was to empower kids to say, no, I don't have to be a victim. No, people don't have to touch me. But also, no, I don't have to stay here. And so depending on what's presented to the student or to your child, one of those four things, or a combination of those four, will help you get away from that scenario. So when we talk about the hide, that's very similar to what we'd see as a lockdown drill. That's a little bit enhanced. When we talk about run or escape, that's getting away from whatever that is. It could be escape bullying by not putting up with what's being said or not putting stock in what that bully says. Or it could be overcome. And we talked about overcoming either violence or stranger danger or someone trying to grab you, someone trying to maybe potentially molest you or assault you. And that's literally doing anything to get away, to create some time and some distance. So it might be throwing something to get away. It might be pushing somebody away from you and then to run. But we want to really empower kids and people in general to realize that we don't have to stand for what's happening to us.
Okay, Adam, I'm going to say this, and feel free to pick apart my theory or my stand on this issue, because you're the expert, I'm not. But I will say this, that my dad taught me years ago when I was a young boy in elementary school, that you have to sometimes always stand your ground and gain the respect and earn the respect if you're in a bullying situation. You can't always run, you can't always get away, and sometimes you have to learn how to stand your ground and stand up for yourself. Do you find that not one of the goals?
And as a matter of fact, we do. And that's where kind of that overcome comes from. There may be times that escape is the smarter option in that particular instance, especially if it's a bullying situation where you may be outnumbered. But it might be where you can't get away from it, and you do have to stand your ground, and you do have to earn the respect of those who may be trying to bully you or maybe trying to hurt you.
Okay, so who's getting these programs? How are they understanding it? Is it going into the schools? I want to have you explain what really happened to that Knoxville, Tennessee young man, Keaton Jones. If you would, for my listeners, give us a recount of what happened in his story and what's going on now.
So he has some developmental issues that make him look different. So he looks a little different than the rest of the kids. And by and large, what we've discovered is he was bullied the majority of his school career based upon the way that he looks. And it came to a head I think it was about 2 weeks ago now, where these kids were pouring milk on him, they were throwing lunch meat at him, and he came out after school to the car and started telling his mom the story of what happened. His mom talks about that he'd been wanting to make a video for some time about anti-bullying. And when he came out to the car on this particular day, he had told his mom that, I'm ready to make that video. And what that was his very tearful plea to stop bullying. Now, as you may remember or may recall, many celebrities came out of the woodwork, professional athletes, to support and take a stand against bullying. And that lasted about 2 or 3 days until the Internet began to do some investigative work on their own into his family and into him. And what was discovered was his mom posing in front of Confederate flags in photos that were a few years old, pictures obviously of much younger Keaton with his parents in front of some of the symbolic flags and other things that the internet took to be hate speech or potentially racist. And the support that he had immediately got turned on its head. And now you see the online cyberbullying of his family and in some instances of him.
You know, Adam, I'm going to say this, and I guess I'm kind of a redneck cowboy in southern Idaho, but, you know, regardless of a person's past or regardless of a person's wants or what they adhere to or what they espouse to as far as organizations or anything in the past, as far as in the South with the Confederacy, there's still a lot of people in the South that are absolutely tied because of family heritage to the values of the Confederacy. It's not our right to tear apart their beliefs and to segregate them from society, especially when it comes to bullying. Bullying is wrong. I don't care what the circumstances, and I think it was really wrong for some of these so-called celebs and everything to turn on this young man purely because of the family stance on certain political issues. Am I wrong?
You know, you can't pick your family. I mean, this poor kid, I mean, regardless of what his family may or may not think, and you called it exactly, there's family ties, there's heritage, it's a part of the history in this country, no matter how you feel about that part of our history, but it's part of our history nonetheless. And so you have a kid that can't pick his family, who has got issues of being bullied, regardless of whatever those issues may be. The kid is being bullied. Finally, he starts to get some support, and then all of a sudden, he gets even bullied more than he was before. So you put yourself in this, you know, very young man's shoes of being bullied, having some light, so to speak, at the end of that tunnel, and then all of a sudden, all those same people that came up to help you are now turning on you.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine being in his spot now in this national limelight of not only being espoused as this kid who's been bullied and let's help him, but now, you know, you have some people saying maybe he should have been bullied because of these beliefs or what he was saying, which I think is completely inappropriate.
Well, you know, to elaborate on that, on the info sheet that was sent to me regarding having you on my program this morning, there was a quote there that was attributed to CNN, and I'll read it and tell me if it's right, wrong, or whatever. He, being this young man, Keaton Jones, deserved what he got, they growled. Maybe he should be bullied more, and CNN has their name behind that. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, in my opinion, no one should be bullied. You know, if we go really back in history to the roots of our country, I mean, the First Amendment kind of allows us to espouse our beliefs, and it's supposed to be a protection for us, especially from the government. And, you know, regardless, and I might not agree, and you might not agree, and we may not agree on certain issues, but we, at the same time, have the right to say that. When you think about bullying in its purest form, it's someone exerting authority over somebody else.
Yep.
And what we're seeing here is the I guess pop culture viewpoint of, hey, the Confederacy, the South, whatever the issue is that they're making it, is now no longer in vogue, so to speak. And now maybe he should be bullied more so he cannot speak out. So that way he can see that the values that maybe his family instilled in him are not appropriate, and you should be called out for that. And, you know, I think bullying in any form, even if you don't agree with what he's saying or what his family's believing in, you can absolutely disagree with it, but to bully in order to silence him and then not only to punish him, I think especially at his age or any age is inappropriate.
I totally agree with you. Adam, during all this conversation we've had regarding the kids at the school were pouring milk on him and they were bullying him and jousting him and everything else, where were the leadership categories of the school, the teachers, the principals, the others? What in the world were they doing?
You know, that's a great question. And as being a little bit of bullying myself growing up, especially in high school, you'd be amazed the areas and the corners of school where teachers and educators just never see. I mean, the kids seem to be masters of their domains, and you know, if he's being bullied between passing periods, before school, after school, out in the yard, I mean, these are all areas that educators have a hard time seeing. Now, in classroom and in some predominantly high-traffic areas, of course, they're going to be watching for anything. But you'd be amazed just how much subtle bullying and even things like this were going on that teachers may have never found.
Let me ask you one final thought here in our segment this morning, Adam. And I'm an old man, and you sound like you're in the younger stages of your life. But I will say this, why is bullying more prominent, or at least seems to be today, than it was when I was growing up?
Well, we have a thing called the Internet now. And, same way when I was growing up, the computers and the Internet were just starting to take hold as far as it being something that we would use. There was no social media. There was no, apps. And what's happened now is you've been able to double the residency of bullying. So before where, you and I would be bullied on the way to school or maybe at school to get pushed around. But when I went home, or you went home, it was over. We were back with our families and our friends. Now these kids get physically bullied in school, and then you go home, and now they take to the Internet, and whether it be Facebook or Twitter, Snapchat, any of these different venues, now you can continue the bullying online to a much broader audience. So you'll have chat groups, and you'll have different groups for different schools and different kids, and they'll be bullied within their friends group. They'll be bullied just flat out on their Facebook page or their Twitter account. And so now, instead of it being an isolated issue, it's across the entire school district, the entire city, the county, whoever's reading this. So it becomes much more of a problem because they can never get away from it. And today's youth live and die by their online status, by their online profile. That's where they find a lot of their self-esteem.
Yeah.
So it's becoming a exponentially larger problem.
Well, Adam, one of the things I can relate on the air about my case growing up, when I was in grade school, I can remember a certain situation where I was bullied. I came home and I went, wah, 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 to my dad. They're picking on me and everything. And my dad, I'll never forget it. He was a great big tough German and a former boxer. He grabbed me by the front of my shirt and he said, listen to me very carefully. Stand up for yourself, or if I find out you come home complaining about it and again, I will make sure that you're going to have some punishment here at home. In other words, he taught me to stand up for myself, not to be allowed to be bullied, or the threat at home might be even worse as far as punishment for being weak. Are you opposed to that thinking?
And that's where we talk about overcome, and not at all. I mean, at some point, we are going to have to stand up for ourselves, and we want to do it in a manner where, obviously, we're going to be on the winning end of that standing up for ourselves. But as a culture, we seem to kind of lull into apathy, into apology, and we have not been standing up for ourselves by and large. And, my dad told me something very similar. But it was the understanding that when I did stand up, and if it ended up in a fight, or it ended up in me, potentially maybe getting suspended or whatever that was, that my parents were going to be okay with that because, like you said, I stood up for myself. And that bullying was probably going to end pretty rapidly. And I can remember I did have to stand up for myself physically one day, and sure enough, it ended the very next day. And it was in one of those corners of the school that nobody saw, so no one got in trouble, but it ended. And, in order to overcome bullying, you are eventually going to have to stand up for yourself, to say it's not okay, no, this is not okay for me, and I'm done with this.
Adam, I really respect your viewpoints and coming on the program and talking about this morning. And you're the president of Safe Kids and the founder of the Hero program. I wish you a lot of success, and I certainly appreciate you coming on the air. Merry Christmas to you, and come back again after the new year. I'd like to have you back on the program.
I'd love to be back, sir. Merry Christmas to you, and it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much, sir. Adam Coffrin, and the president of Safe Kids, and talking about the bullying problem, and it is a problem, all across the United States. Holy smokes, I've got to get a weather forecast on here. Oh, we're running late. Don't forget Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, and they're sponsoring the weather for us this hour, and they've got offices in Burley and Rupert. And don't forget to make an appointment with them to go over your taxes, and they want to wish everybody that's done business with them a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. They really care. They've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years, serving you, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We've got 5 days left until Christmas, and will we have a white Christmas? Well, here's your weather forecast for us up at the ranch. Today we are looking at a slight chance of snow showers, mostly before the noon hour. Other than that, mostly cloudy skies. High right near 35, going to be breezy as well with a west wind right around 20 miles an hour, gusts possible as high as 30 miles an hour. Tonight, 40% chance of snow showers in the forecast, mostly before midnight, mostly cloudy skies. High right near 19, going to be breezy still for tomorrow. Mostly sunny skies, high right near 28, partly cloudy for tomorrow night with low of 20. Friday, slight chance of snow showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies with a high of 31. That's going to continue for Friday night with a low of 17. And slight chance of snow showers for Saturday as well, looking at a high of 21. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. CPAs that can and will help you. Any questions about taxes, don't hesitate. They can answer them. This company would like to thank everybody for their business in the year past and looking forward to serving you next year. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company with offices in Burley and Rupert. Well, we've got just a little bit of time here. Give me a call on the landline. I would love to visit with you, so give us a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Deanne is out in the kitchen right now. Occasionally you can hear a thud or a thunk or something like that. She's cooking up a storm, and she had little zucchini bread loaves she was working on, and I don't know what she's baking right now. Smells really good. Hey, talk about Christmas shopping. If you're not done and you don't know what to get that certain person, I know, Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview in Twin Falls. Oh, my goodness. In every department at Sportsman's Warehouse, they have got people that are experts about all the quality items, whether it's clothing, whether it's footwear, whether it's guns, whether it's hunting material or shooting, archery. It doesn't make any difference. Fishing. They've got the experts there to help you and answer your questions and make sure you get just the right gift for that special person. All of that at Sportsman's Warehouse with Reese and the staff at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Sportsman's Warehouse, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. All righty, dighty, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Now, tomorrow on the program, we're going to have our annual Zeb Bell Christmas show right here at Zeb at the Ranch. And we're going to have a lot of guests coming in and visiting with us on the program. We're going to have a lot of Christmas carols and poems and everything and Christmas stories. So I want to urge you to call in tomorrow and kind of share with us your favorite part of Christmas, or maybe your favorite foods at Christmas, or maybe some really unique happening or experience at Christmas time. That's tomorrow on the show. We'd look forward to having you call in. By the way, we're also going to change. Tomorrow, normally on Thursdays, we have the segment called Starving to Death, but we're going to do it right now. If you're out Christmas shopping and you get hungry, I know some great places for you to go if you're starving to death. Here we go. The AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. They've got those pumpkin shakes and the eggnog shakes. And listen to this, chicken fried steak sandwiches. Have you had one of those? Knock your boots off, delicious, with the fries and the famous Farmer Brown burgers. All of that at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. And let's move over to Taco Bandito at 2301 Overland in Burley. Pumpkin empanadas. Ooh, they are good. And they've got those delicious street tacos, and they got the new pork burritos with beans, rice, and pork, and sour cream and cheese, and the breakfast burritos, all of this and so much more at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Well, let's move over now to two locations of Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. Eggnog shakes and delicious soups, every day a different flavor, and spicy chicken combo, only $5.99 after 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Oh, nice people. Great menu choices at Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. Well, let's head on over to Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Food made the way you love it. Oh, my goodness. And you can download a free app on your smartphone, and you can now order for Steve-O's without even going there first. And then when your order's ready, go pick it up. Hey, they're going to be closed on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, but they want to remind you better get in there and have that new salad. It's called the Chaos Salad. Chicken breast with bacon, pickles, jalapeno peppers, lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, everything delicious. Along with the buffalo burgers and great friendly people serving you at Steve-O's in Heyburn. And last but not least, I'm drooling. I'm so hungry. Doc's Pizza at 514 6th Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness sakes. They've got that upstairs for your parties, and they've got the most delicious pizza, and they've got the salad bar. Oh, my goodness. You've got to get in there and meet some really nice people serving you with the best of eating at Doc's Pizza, right on the square in Rupert at 514 6th Street. And those are just a few delicious places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. Oh, man, am I ever. Hey, next hour, we got Chuck Vollmer coming in, and he's going to talk about the tax bill that was passed by the Senate last night. And then at 10:30 this morning, we've got a gentleman coming on the air called Mr. Peter Rosenberger, and he's going to be talking about how to get through the holidays when you're alone or maybe kind of depressed and maybe you don't have family to be with. We're going to talk about all that coming up in the next hour. Zeb at the Ranch wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Wheels, take it away to the news. Oh boy, here we go into hour number 3 on this December 20th. If you haven't done your Christmas shopping yet, you're in trouble. You better hurry. Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and welcome back. And a big thank you to our sponsor, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And get ready for wintertime driving. It looks like it's coming, so get ready and stop in and see them today. Along with some of our great advertisers, including Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Merry Christmas wishes go out from Golden Valley Warehouse at 468 West, 1000 South of Burley. Always in the business of selling quality seed to quality people. They wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas from Golden Valley Warehouse. Streamlined Precision with Tim and the crew. These are excellent people, and they can build anything from dairy parlors, free stalls, robotic barns, you name it, they can build it, and they say thank you for helping make a successful 2017. Streamline Precision at 120 South, 100 West of Burley. Merry Christmas. We heard this man earlier this morning on the program, Joe Taylor, the world's best real estate agent at 425 Overland in Burley. Number to call, 678-9400. One call does it all. Buy or sell real estate. Joe Taylor, the absolute best. Wishing you a Merry Christmas. As do the folks over at Clark's for Shopping at 100 East Main Street in Oakley. They got that famous sausage recipe from Grandma's recipe, bulk patties or links. Delicious. Clark's for Shopping in Oakley, wishing you and yours Merry, Merry Christmas. And by the way, one other person that wants to wish you a very Merry Christmas right now, and that is Senator Kelly Anthon. We are blessed to have Kelly on our team here in the state of Idaho, and along with his family and all the people that he works with, he wants to stop and say thank thank you. Thank you very much. And he enjoys representing you as a senator here in the state of Idaho and wishes you a very Merry Christmas. I've been looking forward to having this gentleman on my program ever since we got him all signed up, and he is the president of Jobonomics. This ought to be interesting. Chuck Vollmer. Good morning, Chuck. How are you today?
Good morning to you, and Merry Christmas.
Well, we're getting you on the air at just the right time because last night at 1:30 a.m. the Senate passed the tax cuts, and things are looking good for the Trump administration. What do you think about this tax bill?
Well, let me start with the fact is we support the president and what he's trying to do is creating GDP at 4% and 25 million new jobs. We support the idea of tax reforms since the economy is not sustainable. At this point, we give the Republican tax bill a passing grade, but a minimal grade of a C.
Okay, now why the C when you talk about it, Chuck? Now, for my audience, myself, and we hear so many different variations of opinions. Oh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then you listen to Schumer and the Democrats, and they're saying, well, it's Armageddon. Okay, explain your grade of a C.
Well, first of all, I'm pro Trump and pro tax plan. The tax plan is vastly oriented to big business and as opposed to small business. We believe that the economy is not sustainable unless we mass produce small businesses that employ about 80% of the people in the United States. Having said that, I think the Democrats are making worst-case scenario out of everything, calling everything from a scam to Armageddon. I think that's politically motivated. I think that the opposition party and the liberal media are primarily oriented to taking the administration down as opposed to any meaningful tax and economic growth strategies.
I think you just summed up the whole feeling that I have, Chuck, is that no matter if Donald Trump came out today and said that he was going to give the Democrats, each one of the House of Representatives and each one of the senators, a great big $1,000 check as a thank you for what they've done in the House and the Senate, they'd still come out and condemn him. There is no way they're going to give Trump any credit. There's no way they're going to give any of his bills any credit. And this is going to go on for another 3 years, and I'm sick of it. I really am.
Yeah, it's, the bipartisan divide. I live in the Washington, D.C. area. It's Jobonomics. We have a following of about 20 million people. We're a bipartisan movement, but you got to get to the place where the divide is so great that, it'd almost be worthy to have a viable third party in here to break up the logjam.
Let me ask you this, Chuck, and you do this for a living. Every day you crunch numbers, you look at the status of where our economy is and everything. Let's start, first of all, with the stock market. Are you concerned that we've been seeing this thing take off like a rocket and stay high? Are you one of these guys that's going to tell me, hey, whatever goes up must come down, and it might? What's your thoughts on the stock market?
Well, let's take it up just slightly higher notch. In the near term, everybody's saying the economy is going gangbusters, and they point to the stock market. They point to the unemployment rate and consumer confidence. All three of those are very arbitrary numbers. The stock market is up because nobody else has any place else to invest their money. The unemployment rate is down to almost historical post-World War II lows because you're only unemployed if you're looking for a job, so twice as many people have dropped out of the workforce for welfare and unemployment as opposed to joining the workforce. And consumer confidence is high because everybody hears that everything's rosy. So, we look at a different set of metrics and additional, mainly the small business community and the labor force is our primary metrics.
Now, when you say that about the labor force, I'm going to ask you a question I've asked a lot of guests on my program. Unemployment is way, way low. However, there are those that are leeches on the society that want everything handed to them in a silver tin cup. How do we re-implement and reinstill a work ethic in America to where people want to get out and work, want to do something with their life, and want to try to develop a career?
Yeah, I think I hear that a lot. Jobonomics we have about a dozen inner city programs, and I work with very depressed areas, like in Baltimore, Detroit, and Chicago. I just came from a 3-day meeting in the worst part of Chicago, and contrary to public opinion, these people are neither lazy or lack a desire to work. They just have lost kind of the American dream. And in fact, they're very entrepreneurial. They've created tens of millions of micro businesses over the last decade, except that they tend to be on the illegal side of the equation.
Okay, so
I think the answer to your question is that I think if we give them a viable route to be able to create micro businesses, especially in the emerging digital economy, I think you would have a very significant impact in urban renewal over the next decade.
Chuck, do you feel the same way as you just stated about the millennials and the younger people that are just going perhaps through their freshman, sophomore, junior year of college? I see a generation right there that feels entitled. I see a generation right there that's never learned how to work. I see a generation coming on that really nobody has ever said you have to be self-responsible. What do you think?
Well, my view on the millennials and the Gen Zers, we call the Gen Zers screenagers because the amount of time they spend online. And so our opinion is a little different from what you're saying. I think they're just not oriented to the traditional type of careers that you and I have looked at. I think they're looking at the digital economy. I think they would like to be Uber drivers in the afternoon, app developers in the evenings, and one or two other occupations, and glue together careers that way. They're just not oriented to the standard workforce as we interpret it.
On behalf of your being president of your company, Jobonomics, what are your thoughts? I've already stated mine earlier this morning about the minimum wage being forced and coerced to go to $15 an hour. I'm not in favor of it. I'd like to hear your viewpoint.
Well, if the minimum wage was instituted, countrywide at $15, an hour, we would go bankrupt. There are some places at $15 an hour in the inner cities like downtown Manhattan or maybe San Francisco, they could sustain it. But in places in Idaho or in other rural areas, it just doesn't make any sense. The other thing is that we're against the mandatory minimum wage from the viewpoint you kick out the bottom rung of the career ladder. I mean, some people just kind of need to get on that first rung to get into the workforce and work themselves up. And by knocking out that first rung, it just makes it harder for people to get in.
I agree, totally. Let me go back, if I may, to the tax bill and talk a little bit about Mr. and Mrs. Average American living in an average income, etc., trying to put their kids through school. Is this tax cut going to help them? You mentioned it was primarily geared towards the rich and the wealthy corporations. What about Mom and Dad America?
Well, amen. Yeah, I'm seriously mean that to you. That's the central issue. That's why we give it a C. We're talking about mom and pop type of organizations and individuals. Let's take individuals as opposed to the mom and pops. First of all, the tax, 80% of the people are going to get a tax break this year. So that's good. I would have hoped that the guys at the top 10%, 20%, would have paid the same amount of taxes they did last year. But in fact, the matter is they're going to get about a 4% raise, whereas the guys at the middle of the income stream are going to get a 2% raise. So I would have preferred that if they would have come out and on the money that this largesse of new money, that the rich would have stayed even and the middle would have, increased by 6%. So that's my first complaint on the individual side, and on the business side, a lot of the things that are being implemented are so much big business oriented that the big businesses are not going to hire. In a recent CEO summit at Yale, only 14% of the CEOs said that they're going to invest into capital, and that 14% is going to be largely into automation because labor is the highest cost. And another business roundtable led by Jeremy Diamond last month said that only 43% of the CEOs are going to hire, and 18% we're going to lay off. So big business is going to use the money for buying back stocks and mergers and acquisitions, where if you gave that same amount to the mom and pops, they'd be hiring people. And the people they hire are typically the unemployed or the young and that type of thing to be able to build a business. If you give a rich guy, some money, they're going to probably save it. You give a working class person money, they're going to probably invest it. And so that to me is why I would give the tax bill a C. Now, however, the chairman of the Kevin Brady said, "Hey, we can go back and fix these things." Mm-hmm. And so I think we can get the C up to a B or an A if we just change the playing field, being tilted for the big guys and tilted to the little guys.
Okay, now, I don't have the terminology or the expertise you have on this, Chuck, but I have had a concern that any time that you have tax cuts, that means there's less money in the coffer to help further the government programs and pay the government bills or to cut down on the deficit. So are you saying that maybe there's a big hammer behind the curtain in 2, 3, 4, 5 years that might come down on the American taxpayers and they're going to have to put up what they didn't pay right now?
Well, the tax cuts for the individuals are only till 2025, and so that they're not permanent, so they go up. But the bigger issue is, let's go back to President Reagan. When he did his tax cuts, he said, this is a bet, and we're going to bet if we put more money into the hands of the American business and the American people, we can really grow this economy. That's the same bet that President Trump is betting, and I just don't want to tie the small business guy down. I want to unleash him, just like in a rodeo that you're well familiar with. You let those cowboys run.
That's right.
And maybe that's a bad analogy, but you get the drift. Because if it doesn't run, and we don't create 4% GDP, and we don't create these 25 million new jobs, the hammer is going to come down on the taxpayer.
Absolutely. Chuck, I really appreciate your coming on the program, and I'm going to keep your name in my file and make sure that we get you back after the first of the year going into 2018, and we'll see what the first quarter looks like, and I'll get you back on the program. Chuck Vollmer, president of Jobonomics, I wish you a very Merry Christmas, and thanks for being on the show.
Well, and God bless you guys, and have a great holiday.
All right, sir. Thank you very, very much. Good man and very knowledgeable about the tax bill, and we're going to have him back on the program. Chuck Vollmer, president of Jobonomics, and he's right there in the middle of everything in Washington, D.C. Okay. Hey, by the way, Merry Christmas wishes. Excuse me, I've still got that old cold. Won't leave me. Representative Fred Wood, and we're very proud to have him right here in this area of southern Idaho, and he cares about what's going on with you, your family, and the state of Idaho, and he's all set to go for the legislative session coming up right at the beginning of January, and he wants to wish you and your family and all your neighborhood a great big wish for a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from Representative Fred Wood. All right, I got time for a couple of calls. I'd like to hear from you at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I will say that yesterday, even though I went shopping and the little cart that I used went bloop, and died, I got all my shopping done. Every single thing is finished. And I still have 5 days till Christmas. My goodness, I've turned over a new leaf. Normally, and Deanne can attest to this, on the 24th, Christmas Eve, in the morning around noon, yours truly is always making a run to the shopping malls or whatever, because I haven't started. And this year I'm all done. I don't even know what to do with all the spare time. How about you? Have you got your Christmas shopping all done? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. How about you, Wheels? I haven't even asked you. Have you got all your shopping finished?
I do. I'm still trying to figure a few things out, but yes, I'm done.
Do you go, when you shop for members of your family, do you go and get them something that they really want, or do you get them something that they think that they'd like because it's something of your choice?
Well, that's my dilemma, because I don't want to get somebody something that they don't like.
Okay.
You know, that's why I like my brothers.
Now, how many brothers do you have?
I have 2, so there's all 3 of us, so we're a family of 5.
Okay, so now your brothers, do you buy them clothes? Do you buy them some kind of electronic devices? Do you just get them a gift card and say, that's it, I'm done with it, or what do you do?
Well, for my brothers, if I'm in the mood for that, usually it's, well, let's just go to the store and I'll get it for you, and then we'll just, call it even. But, yeah, I do. I try to think of, well, what would this person, really like, but then at the same time, like, for instance, I got my mom some makeup.
Wait a minute, she just heard what you bought her. You shouldn't have said that on the radio.
She doesn't listen to the radio.
Oh, thanks a lot. Okay.
No, nothing. It's nothing bad, but it's things like that where you think as a guy, a girl can't have too much makeup, but at the same time,
I hope you know that you're burying yourself right now. I'm not even going to contribute to this part of the conversation, young man. You're on your own. Float your own boat.
I got my safety jacket locked and loaded, but, yes.
Let me ask you something. If people get you a gift card, I'll be very honest here, and I'm not going to mention names or anything like that, but do you use the gift cards, or do you somehow forget that you have them and maybe put them up on your dresser or in your shirt pocket or your billfold, and you forget about them?
I've had that, yes, I will admit. I've had that experience where I've gotten them, and then, I will save them for later, and I put it somewhere, and then it's, maybe a month later.
And then about maybe 5 years later, when you clean out your billfold, you go, oh, this expired, and it was dinner for 2.
Yeah, I've experienced that before, so it's, it's one of those things where if I do get something like that, I do try to use it, and usually I'm pretty blessed when I get something like that, because, it kind of helps out when, you're going out and you need to help, pay, or you need to help contribute.
There you go.
It's always nice to try to think of
I know your mom, and she's a very nice lady, and I want to extend to you and the whole family the best of Christmas wishes, and hope all goes well, Wheels. We appreciate what you're doing. Thanks.
Well, thank you, sir.
All right.
I will have you and Deanne's Christmas present.
With all the hard time I give you over the radio and everything, I can just see it's a sock full of coal, right? Hey, I want to remind everybody, tomorrow, Wheels, you're going to be really busy because from 8 to 11 tomorrow, we're going to have our annual Zeb at the Ranch open house, and we're going to have a lot of people coming by. We're going to have people calling in, and I urge people to call. If you want to wish a very Merry Christmas message to somebody, call in while we're on the program. Tell them Merry Christmas, or if you have a certain story about Christmas you want to share with us, us, or a little poem, or I know we're going to have Linda Croft call in and give us a Christmas song, and all those type of things tomorrow for our annual Christmas party that is our Zeb at the Ranch open house tomorrow from 8 to 11. So be sure and tune in for that. And if you're driving by, just stop in and walk in the house and say howdy and Merry Christmas. We do that every year, and it's really a lot of fun. We're going to get ready to send this back over to Wheels for about 3 to 4 minutes. And then coming up next hour, we have a gentleman by the name of Peter Rosenberger, and he's the author of many books, and we're going to talk to him about maybe the Christmas doldrums. You know, you get down and you're kind of lonesome, and how to overcome a lot of this. We're going to have him coming on the air in about 3 to 4 minutes. But right now, we're going to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a very, very profitable 2018. We're going to send it back over to our main studios, and we'll be back in just a few moments.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
And welcome back. We're on the home stretch of the last half-hour segment of our program this morning. Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and Merry Christmas to all of you. I almost dropped all the bells. Hold on, here we go. Got to have the sound effects on here. There we are. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and we had this gentleman on once before, and I'm looking forward to having him back here this morning. His name is Peter Rosenberger, and he's the author of 7 Caregiver Landmines and How You Can Avoid Them, and Hope for the Caregiver, encouraging words to strengthen your spirit. And a lot of us need that at this particular time of the year. Good morning, Peter. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. Merry Christmas. It's great to talk with you again. You guys got some snow?
A little bit is falling right now, as a matter of fact, and it's not going to get to any massive amounts, but at least it might provide a little white Christmas. Where are you calling from, sir? I'm in Nashville in the Rhinestone Mines in Nashville, Tennessee. It's just kind of a rainy day here, so it's not much. It doesn't look very Christmassy yet. Well, we still have a couple of days, but I was really interested in having you come on prior to Christmas and talking about survive the holidays. What do you mean when you had the headline on your info sheet, survive the holidays? Well, you know, Christmas time can be stressful for any family. But when you're taking care of somebody who has some type of impairments, disabilities, age-related, chronically ill, anything like that, dementia, it adds a whole different level of stress. And I think sometimes we tend to overdo it. If we think that this may be the last Christmas we're going to have, then we try to make it more like Mardi Gras instead of Christmas. And we overdo it things. And so one of the things I'm on a mission to do is help my fellow caregivers. And I've been a caregiver for 30-something years now through a medical nightmare. But to help us dial it back a little bit and let's appreciate what has great value and make it meaningful without killing ourselves in the process. You know, Peter, I guess one of the first questions I would have is when you have and you're providing care for a member of the family, and you made the statement a moment ago that it may be their last Christmas. Boy, there's such an element of sadness and one of sorrow. I mean, boy, that's got to be hard on the caregiver also, isn't it? It is. All of this is hard. And caregivers stay in oftentimes a perpetual state of grief. What I would like to help caregivers do, and myself, Zeb, I'm still doing this, so I listen to my own radio show and I read my own book. It's that we learn how to grieve in a healthy manner, that we don't grieve destructively through rage, through going into dark places, through all denial. There's all kinds of levels of grief that are not appropriate to stay in. I mean, we're gonna wade in and out of those things, but let's don't just sit around and swim in that pool for a long time. Let's move through it and grieve in a healthy manner, and we can do that. And then we discover along the way that there is joy, that we can live calmer, healthier, and even joyful lives in the midst of this thing. We're not guaranteed a life absent from pain and sorrow, but we do need some extra help in learning how to deal with the harsh realities we deal with as caregivers so that our lives are not just filled with such despair,
And Christmas time can bring up a lot of nostalgia feelings. It can bring up all kinds of stuff. You know, nostalgia ain't what it used to be. And we tend to somehow romanticize the past, and we need to look at it for what it is. A reporter was asking me not too long ago, Zeb, what's the hardest thing for you as a caregiver? Now, my wife said she's facing her 79th surgery here in a couple of weeks, probably.
Oh, my.
And we were just at 3 different medical visits yesterday. 30-something years now she's been dealing with all this, both legs amputated, $10 million, 80-plus doctors, 12 hospitals, 7 insurance companies. And they asked me, what is my most challenging aspect? And hands down, Zeb, it is learning to accept what is mine and what is not mine to carry.
Mm-hmm.
That is the hardest thing for me as a caregiver, because sometimes I take on too much and I overdo it, or sometimes then I'll get angry and I'll back away and I'll underdo it, or whatever. And it's that balance of learning what is mine and what's not mine, what is God's, what is not God's. These are very difficult things for us as caregivers to figure out. And so what I try to do is dial it back and let's just live right here in the moment. It may be the last Christmas, but you know what? We're not in 2018 right now. We're just going to deal with right now, right here. And I don't have any control over what happens next month. I don't have any control over what happens this afternoon. I'm just going to deal with the moment, and that's hard for folks to do that, Zeb, but that's the only way we can live. You know, we tend to want to live out in the wreckage of our future.
Yeah.
But it hasn't happened. And it's probably not going to be as bad as we think it is, and it's probably not going to be as good as we'd hope it would be. But it's going to be what it is.
Well, with all the emotions...
Christmas looking like, okay, how can I make the most meaningful time to me personally through this process, where I can see the beauty around me and the joy around me and experience it in my own heart? That's going to help you as a caregiver. Sometimes I think we demand the grandiose, but we miss the exquisite. And there's exquisite beauty in relationships and so forth that we can have right now. And so I want to give that kind of encouragement to caregivers while also letting them know that, you know what, if you see a family member that's deteriorating and you get together over the holidays and you're thinking, oh, wow, man, Dad's in bad shape or whatever, it's a dinner, it's a party, it's a Christmas gathering, it's not an intervention.
Yeah.
You don't have to have that conversation right there as you're handing out stockings, with stuff in it, and say, Dad, give me the keys or I'm not going to give you your present. Don't do that. Make mental notes, and then when the hubbub dies down, then you can revisit some of these issues. But don't try to cram it all into, we've got to fix this problem today. You didn't get here overnight, you're not going to get out of it overnight. It's a process.
Yeah, but Peter, with the emotionality of Christmas, whether it's somebody, excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cold, I didn't mean to cough in your ear, whether it's looking at the Christmas tree or putting the lights on the tree or wrapping a present, all of those might trigger emotions of being alone and feeling solitude and feeling sorrow. I mean, you know how to cope with this, but what would you tell people that all of a sudden they go in the other room and there's their spouse that maybe they're worried about and they're the caregiver and all the sadness and the solemnity of Christmas? I mean, it's hard to overcome some of that.
It is, and I have the skills because people have given me the skills, and the only reason I'm able to do this is because others have helped me, and now it's my opportunity to coalesce these things and aggregate them and give them out in a way that makes sense to my fellow caregivers. And so if the first thing I say to do, pick up the phone and call someone. I know the phone feels like it's 100 pounds sometimes, but call someone and just say, I'm really struggling right now. Is this a good time? I just needed to have somebody listen to me, a trusted friend. Go to a support group. Find a support group in your area that is dealing with the issues that you deal with. If it's Alzheimer's, there's an Alzheimer's support group. If it's, cerebral palsy, there's a cerebral palsy support group. If you can't find one in your area, look around and go to a 12-step program like Al-Anon or something. Don't try to find the perfect support group. Just go and listen to other people trying to wrap their minds around something they can't control. That's a good step because you need that social interaction. Call your church, visit your pastor, have your church send somebody over. And if your church won't send somebody to visit with you and minister to you in that way, then get a different church because that's what the church should be doing. And then if worse comes to worse, listen to my show, because I'm putting it out there, and you can even call into my show because I'm putting as much information as I can out there for folks to know that they're not alone. and to help penetrate into that isolation. And this is what it's about. But you've got to raise your hand and say, I need help.
Absolutely. You know, you had one sentence in your info sheet that really hit me right between the eyes, and I'll read it, and then I want you to elaborate on it. You said, quote, "It's hard to carve a turkey with clenched fists."
Really is. I mean, you can't celebrate if you're so hacked off. And you know, I don't know about you, but it takes a lot of energy to stay pissed off for a long period of time. I don't know if I should say that on the air, but I just did. Sorry, Tim.
Okay.
But, you know, you can't be that angry for that long with people. Let it go. Let it go. You know, you're not responsible to fix things. And if people have made mistakes and if they've done the things wrong and they've done you wrong, you know, you're going to have to just let that one go, and it'll work out in its own way, but you don't have to be miserable in the process. And resentment will cripple you.
Absolutely.
It's not going to hurt a lot of other people, but it'll cripple you.
Absolutely.
And so let it go. Breathe it out. And it's not a one and done. You may have to let it go on a daily basis. And forgiveness, Zeb, doesn't mean that it doesn't matter and that it doesn't hurt. Forgiveness means is I'm going to take my hands off of someone else's throat. And sometimes it may be on our own throat, that we may be so resentful at ourselves for the mistakes we've made, the choices we've made, that we're just so tied up in knots with this. Let it go. Breathe it out. And, you know, God is much more capable of dealing with this than you and I are.
Absolutely.
And there's no need for us to try to somehow... I tell people, look at your hands. If you don't see nail prints in your hands, then this ain't yours to fix.
That's exactly right. You know, Peter, every time I think about what your message is, and then I read the info sheet on having you on the program, it brought to mind that we all, I bet you every single American family has a family member or groups in their family that it's hard for them to celebrate with during the holiday season. And I think of the movie, I think that's still the best holiday movie ever about dysfunctional families or problems in the family, and that's Chevy Chase and Christmas Vacation, and we all have a little Christmas Vacation in us.
Just call me Cousin Eddie. You know, we all do, and if you're looking for the perfect family, don't join it because you'll make it imperfect. But we all have stuff. Okay. We can be gracious in this, and this is a great time at Christmas to learn to take what's going on around us and be gracious with it. Just be gracious, and you give out of how you want to be given to, and it's not going to be everything you want. People are not going to be everything you want. You still need to have boundaries, and it's good to have boundaries, but you don't have to have the grudges.
Right.
Boundaries are really essential for life. Grudges are optional. And I would recommend letting go of some of these grudges. I got them, you got them, we all got them. You know, somebody's always done somebody wrong. But I can't live in that place of just constantly revisiting all these grudges. I may have to separate myself from some of these folks. You know, happiness is a warm and loving family separated by a couple of states, they tell me. George Burns used to say that. And sometimes you got to do that. You got to have some boundaries, but you don't have to be mean-spirited about it.
I listened to what you said this morning, and I've caught on many occasions that your faith plays a big part in your life and your everyday movements, and it does in mine also. And that's one of the things that I go into the Christmas season with memories and a lot of respect and love because of my faith. Elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, listen, Ronald Reagan, when he was touring as the governor back in '76, and he was running for president, and he was at a place in North Carolina, and some blind children wanted to meet with him, and so they asked if they could meet with the governor, and he said on one condition that there be no press, because he didn't want this to be seen as a photo op. And so he met with these young kids who were all blind, and he talked with them a little bit, and then he got down on one knee, and he said, now, let me ask you something. Would you like to touch my face so that you can see what I look like? And these little children gathered around Ronald Reagan, governor of California, and they ran their hands over his face so that they could see what he looked like. They could touch him. Well, now that's what Christmas is. We have a Savior that condescended to us so that we could touch him, that we could engage with him in a way that we could understand. And when we have that foremost in our thinking, it kind of puts all this other stuff in perspective, because if he loves us that much to do that for us, then that can spark in things in us that we can learn to give and tap into that inexhaustible love of God so that we can offer it freely to others. It's when we offer love with restrictions that make us so screwed up in our thinking. And that's what Christmas is all about. He condescended to us so that we could touch him. He bore the penalty of our lives so that we wouldn't have to. You know, my Savior has saved me from something far worse than being a caregiver for 31 years, and my wife from far worse than double amputation and all these things. There's something far worse than this that he saved us from. And yeah, what we got to go through right now really sucks, and it's unpleasant, and it's painful. But he gives us strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow, knowing that this is not the end of the story, and that's what Christmas means.
Absolutely. Peter, tell us in the time remaining about your books, and is there anything new in the works coming out? Tell us a little bit about that.
I've got all kinds of things. My show has gone syndication. We've got more stations where we're going to be adding. CaregiversWithHope.com is a great place to go and find all kinds of resources. Check it out today. Caregivers with Hope. I have an audio book of Hope for the Caregiver. This is in its fourth printing now. And you can get that right now and download it right now so that you can get through the holidays and listen to a 30-year caregiver kind of talk you through it. I've got music. I tested my new CD. It's Songs for the Caregivers. And there's hymns that I played. Gracie's singing on a few things. And it's a wonderful hymn. I tested it on Interstate 285 in Atlanta during rush hour. And it's guaranteed to reduce road rage. I didn't give the finger of fellowship to anybody, Zeb, while I was doing it.
I love it.
It's a wonderful product to have. You can download it from iTunes. And there's so many different resources I put out there for caregivers. Don't try to go through this alone this Christmas season.
Amen. Peter Rosenberger, I have the utmost respect for you, and I want to extend to you, your wife, your family, everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Please come back in 2018. God bless you, man. Thanks.
I will. Merry Christmas, Ed.
Thank you, sir. What a nice man, and they've gone through a lot of problems. His wife and himself, I mean, you talk about a positive attitude. Peter Rosenberger, and I'm proud to have him on the show, and like I said to him, he'll be back next year in 2018. Good guy. Really a good guy. Wow, I got to get a weather forecast. Come on, somebody call and just say Merry Christmas. It'd make me feel good. We're going to have the weather forecast on right now, brought to you by Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrow's Meats. Oh, they're located at 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. Or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Oh, my. Listen to this. You don't know what to have for Christmas dinner? How about a smoked turkey from Scarrow's Meats, or marinated prime rib? Oh, it's so good. Or smoked ham. And they've got all the breakfast sausages and all the different breakfast bacons and the bratwurst and everything. Oh, it's delicious. Scarrow's Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We've got 5 days left until Christmas, and will we have a white Christmas? Well, here's your weather forecast for us up at the ranch. Today we are looking at a slight chance of snow showers, mostly before the noon hour. Other than that, mostly cloudy skies. High right near 35, going to be breezy as well with a west wind right around 20 miles an hour, gusts possible as high as 30 miles an hour. Tonight, 40% chance of snow showers in the forecast, mostly before midnight, mostly cloudy skies. High right near 19, going to be breezy still for tomorrow. Mostly sunny skies, high right near 28, partly cloudy for tomorrow night with a low of 20. Friday, slight chance of snow showers in the forecast, mostly cloudy skies with a high of 31. That's going to continue for Friday night with a low of 17. And slight chance of snow showers for Saturday as well, looking at a high of 21. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Boo! Put on the Snuggies. It's going to get cold. Caller, I'll be right with you. Stand by. Don't forget Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Scarrow's Meats. Well, good morning, caller, and Merry Christmas. How are you?
Well, good morning, sir, and Merry Christmas to you. I am just great, and you have had a very, very good show today.
Well, thank you. That's awfully kind of you to call in, and right back at you. Merry Christmas, and I hope you have the best one you've ever had.
Well, I hope so, too. I can kind of put in with a gentleman. I've got a wife that's a 24-year heart patient. We've not been through near what he's been through, but certainly understand where he's coming from, and all of your guests today have just been great.
You know, as far as your situation and others, everybody always has a tendency to look in the mirror and say, oh, my, pity party time, oh, woe is me. But every time you turn around, or no matter where you go, you're always going to find someone somewhere that has a little bit tougher road to hoe than you do.
Very, very true. And another thing there, your life is what you make it to some great degree. You can be on that pity party, or you can look around and say, well, I've got it tough, but Fred's got it tougher.
And, you know, this
I'm going to see if I can't help Fred out a little bit one way or the other.
Absolutely. And, you know, this time of the year, Christmas time, and families getting together, and just kind of the individual time and retrospect on how you used to spend Christmases years ago when you were growing up, there can be a note of sadness and a little nostalgia. And, you know, people need help at this time, and that's where friends and family really come in.
Very true. Merry Christmas again, and we'll be listening to you next year.
God bless you, sir. Thank you, and Merry Christmas. Thank you. That was nice. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, talking about loneliness at Christmas, I will never forget the first Christmas I spent here in Idaho in 1969. Oh, my goodness. It was the first ever Christmas away from home, all by my lonesome. And I had a little bitty 2-room apartment in Twin Falls. Oh, my. And you talk about lonely and feeling really sorry for yourself. That Christmas I did. And the day before Christmas, I'll never forget, a box came, and my mother had sent me a little bitty miniature Christmas tree, to which I still have, as a matter of fact, all these years later. And that was the tree that saved my bacon, boy. I mean, that was a nice little box, some Christmas cookies in it that Mom always made, and some fudge, and that Christmas tree, that made it for that first Christmas. Because we have a tendency sometimes to always go, oh, woe is me, nobody has troubles like I do. Well, that first Christmas here, a long time ago, was really, really lonesome. Hey, by the way, I'd like to have another call. Give me a jingle. While I'm waiting for your call, I'd like to remind you about our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my. I got to look outside. Yeah, ground's pretty wide out there. Hey, get ready for wintertime driving with the snow, the ice, the muck, the yuck, everything, with all the great traction tires from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Now, they know the kind of tires that'll best get you through all this wintertime driving. So stop in, visit with them. They can help. They've got all the tire chains, and, of course, they've got the brake service, the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. Right there, I'm going to stop and remind you that with the colder temperatures, you heard Gina say that we might only have highs maybe about 20, 21 degrees. That battery, that's hard on them, so make sure that you're going to have one that's going to turn that four-wheeled wonder over and get you started. And they've got the best of batteries at all 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Yes, sir. Doing the right thing matters. And they do. At your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, boy. Let's see. Tomorrow, Christmas show. I want to remind you again that I really want you to get involved. This is kind of an open format tomorrow. We're not going to talk about politics. We're not going to talk about anything negative, except we're going to highlight Christmas, and we're going to go through various poems, and we're going to talk about some really neat Christmas stories, and I'd like you to call in and maybe give us some background on some of the great Christmases that you and your family have had over the years. Some people call my program on Christmas corny. They can. Let them call it whatever they want. I just like to celebrate Christmas and all that it means to me and my family. And I heard you clear your throat, young man. What can I do for you?
Well, I just wanted to ask you something. I don't know if we've talked about this much since I've been working with you, but I wonder if tomorrow we could talk about like Christmas traditions and things like that.
Oh yeah, we do every year.
More in depth with that.
Yeah, we always do every year. Christmas traditions, you know, whether people eat a certain meal or they open their gifts at a certain time, or yeah, let's talk about that tomorrow. Any kind of a Christmas tradition that you and your family have, we welcome that. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
All right, buddy. Hey, thanks, Wheels. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir.
Right now, we're going to remind everybody we'll be here tomorrow morning at 8:06. We'll ride the horse for 3 hours until 11 on our Christmas show tomorrow, so please call in. And it's kind of an open house over here, so if you're driving by, stop in, say hello. We'll get you on the microphone and everything. Zeb at the Ranch, right here on K-Bar, 12:30 a.m., and streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com, all over the world. And remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. Merry Christmas, everybody!